friends. So we are here for episode 3. We told you, we warned you. I warned y'all in episode 1, I think, that we won't come with all the heat and all the smoke this season. And yes, and we are coming with it. We always start with a quote, so let's start there and then we'll work our way in. This quote is by Sarah Jakes Roberts, and it says, "This is the greatest fear. If the fullness of who I am showed up in this room, I don't know that I would be invited back." So let me tell y'all, let me give you some context. So in the height of 2020, y'all know all the things were going wrong in 2020. And that's when we were having a bunch of racially charged shootings, and it was COVID, and it was all of the things at the same time. So Sarah Jakes Roberts, Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts, was on a live on Instagram with Christine Kane, and they were talking about basically all that was happening in the world and the fact that the world was basically imploding on itself. And giving a like racially relevant talk about, I think this was right around where George Floyd was killed, and it was a lot happening. And Sarah was just talking about the fact that to be Black means to minimize yourself to some degree when you enter a room. Now, she was talking about emotions and things, and we'll get to that. But generally, one thing I believe to be true is that one thing about Black people is that when we come in, we're coming in full force. You're going to hear us, you're going to see us, you're going to experience us, you're going to feel us before we get there. We come with full energy. If we're doing something, we're going to do it to the full out 100. If we're singing, we're not going to sing, we're going to sing. Like if we're dancing, we're going to dance. If we're acting, it's going to be with our whole self. So everything that we do, even if it's like sports stuff, it's going to be with our entire being till we're worn out. So everything that we do is with this full force energy. At the same time, though, in talking about dismantling expectations, I think there's this other side of the coin where because we show up in these ways, we are consistently expected to show up in these ways. So in the realm of sports, for example, or all of the things that we are called to do, there's a level to which we are expected to do them the best and to be the best. There is no second. If you are in sports, you're expected to be the best at the sport. If you are singing, you're expected to be the singer in the room, which just puts a lot of pressure on us because it's not about our gifting necessarily, but it's more so based on this expectation of looking at you, you should be able to. There's some let me tell y'all, there's some saints out here who have color in their skin, they have melanin in their skin, and they can't dance. They can't move.
Okay.
I was one on lungs and take y'all notice. Right. We're not gonna call no names, but maybe, maybe there's some people out here who, just can't dance, or some people who
have tactics to distract you too.
Yes.
So you wouldn't even pay attention to
the fact
that they can't move.
They will rock and try to keep on the beat, and so you can't tell that they can't dance, but they really have no skill. There's some people out here, Black people, they think Black people can play sports. Danielle Gray will disappoint you every time. I will not meet that. I will not. Don't ask me to do anything. Are you athletic? Absolutely not. It's just not in me. But again, we live in these spaces where we're really expected to meet expectations, not because of our gifting, or our skill, but because of our race, which is probably a problem.
Let's just get into it. Okay.
So racial expectations.
Let's just get into it.
Yes.
So the first time I think I experienced or I recognized this expectation was my freshman year. Everybody, hey, how you doing? Where you from? Asking those typical questions. But I often got the third question. My third question was always, oh, are you on a sports team? Or particularly, do you run track? No, baby.
Sorry to disappoint you.
I don't run no track. Or if it wasn't about the sports, it was the academics. Oh, are you on scholarship? Are you
I can't afford
I can't.
The audacity.
The
people, they reading us slow.
So I often got the third question, and then that opened my eyes to the fact that there's this expectation that if I was a black girl on campus, I was on the track team as well. And let me tell you, that wasn't the case. Oftentimes, I was like, no, sorry, I'm just here.
Imagine being tall.
Oh,
and being asked.
yeah. You say your story,
child. I mean, this has been the story of my life. Because, I mean, being tall and being a black person, it's like basketball is a thing. Track and field is a thing. And then the funny joke is to the people, I am going to disappoint you. You know, I could now. Let me tell you, I could be a good Santa now. Back in the day, I had my
Stop it, man.
I almost was dunking on the people.
Okay, wait. If you're gonna say your history, I played soccer. You know, kick around a little bit.
Yeah. So we did do sports.
We did sports, but it wasn't the sports that I guess for me it wasn't the sports that people expected. People expected automatically it was track.
Oh, I did the ones they expected.
You did the ones that they expected, but you didn't continue it.
No, I didn't. I was definitely a quitter, and that's okay. Sports is not for everyone. It was not for me. So I chose my academics over sports, but being the tall person, and being the black student too, and I would get this just walking in Walmart sometimes. I'd be in my little athletic clothes because you know athleisure is a thing nowadays.
That's the thing though, is that y'all be frauding out here.
Wait.
You can't wear. Listen,
I can't be comfortable.
You're already 6'1". You can't be out here wearing some basketball shorts and not playing nothing.
I ain't gonna lie. When I first came as a freshman, I used to wear basketball shorts everywhere.
Exactly.
Be comfortable.
You out here being a fraud and don't expect the people to have expectations.
Whatever. Sure. Sometimes, yeah. So I get that. And I see what you're saying. But yeah, I get that from time to time with those expectations. And that expectation to also be well and to do it really well. I wasn't really, at any time that you kind of pitch it to me, you could see like the gleam of like excitement and anticipation that I was like the all-star of the team. If I was to do it. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not doing the sport. Second of all, joke's on you because I'm not even that great. So yeah, that's a little bit of my experience.
Yeah. So it's been interesting hearing the third question, I would say. That the third question of expectation.
That's what we're going to call it.
It's the third question. Because I think every freshman gets those questions of, how are you? Or where are you from? What's your major? The third question, what you here for? What are you here for?
Wow.
So yeah, that has been interesting. But I think if we're looking at it on the flip side of things, and we're talking about, you know, just working twice as hard, are we as black people, you know, you say we do things in our fullness.
Oh, we do.
Right?
We come with main character energy.
Are we now expected to also work twice as hard? Are we what are the expectations around that?
I feel like this theme keeps coming up in every episode under every topic, to the point that I'm starting to wonder. Well, we addressed it, I think, last episode, that this expectation to work twice as hard is on us and not on other people.
That's true.
It is a self-expectation to be the best when we show up in the room. We can't just be in the room. We can't just be amongst the people. We have to be like above and beyond whatever the standard is. So it probably goes across the board. Like I think it even goes into the arts, like actors and actresses and singers and performers and those kinds of things. This need to, like, if I'm gonna be in the room, I need to show you my fullest potential.
Right. I think we have so many examples of that though, where people who have endured the Black experience have had to come from very rough backgrounds to be proven as the best in the room, or being known as having to work twice as hard. Some of the people I think about automatically is Oprah. We love, us Black people love us some Oprah.
I really do love Oprah.
Inspiration.
If she ever listens, Oprah, I've just been watching you forever.
But I mean, so Oprah is one. I think of Tyler Perry, who not only did he make it, but he's created spaces for other Black actors and actresses to have a voice, to create, their own platforms and kind of just lead the way for themselves as well. So
yeah, I think to that observation that Danielle is making in terms of working twice as hard, I think it exists for several reasons, but the number one that's keeping on my mind right now why that might exist is like there has been this expectation that I don't expect for you to rise up to this level sometimes. And so when you get there, it's like this feeling and this belief that I've gotten here, and I want to show you as well that I've gotten here, despite your opposition or your thoughts towards me and thinking that I may not be able to get here and to succeed well. And so as we talk about the idea of Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, I think in different ways in my observation, they've done this. So they have defied odds of people who would have thought they would not get or surpass to the level that they are in production and in the news broadcasting industry. But they got there. And one of the things I love that they did as well is that they opened spaces for other people to also get there. Other people who might be disadvantaged, other people who might not get casted for roles, or other people who may not get talking experiences or whatever it is, and be able to share their stories. Oprah's literally creating spaces now for people to literally open up and share their stories. A whole network. And I was watching the other day with her and Viola and just talking about Viola's book. She's literally creating these spaces. She's worked twice as hard. She's worked extraordinarily hard to get where she's at, but she's continuing to sustain where she's at now and define those expectations, dismantling those expectations of only as a Black person, this is only as far as you can maybe get. Yeah. And she's opening up spaces for other people to also do that as well.
Yes. I completely agree that all of these things have been done with such excellence.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the thing.
But I also want to bring in their humanity in this. Because I think, yes, they've reached this level. And I'm thinking, I'm a sports fanatic. So I'm thinking of people like Tiger Woods, who he's one of the best when you think about golf, right? And I mean, I'm thinking back to the time when he got a DUI. And I'm like, he's made it this far. And he's human. And so he had a setback. And I'm wondering if one of the things that I pondered for a long time is, I'm wondering if he was able to ever make it back to the level he was at. Or if he was always going to be seen as this person who was at this level and failed, or he was at this level and fell.
Are you talking about like maybe getting to the level like where as being as respected as he was?
Yeah, because I mean, we're talking about Black excellence. So he was. I mean, I would say he was at that level of Black excellence, and he had a few setbacks, not just a DUI, but he had a few setbacks. I'll just mention that one, and I think. For me, at least what the question I pondered is, I wondered if he'll ever get back to that level because people are always seeing him for the thing that he did, the DUI, not necessarily the fact that he was still this man who paved the way for Black golfers.
And he should not and what I think is important to highlight too is that he should not get a slap on the wrist.
No.
His humanity, yeah, you human, you can make some mistakes. That don't mean you get a little slap on the wrist. No. You got to be held accountable. But also, because we talked before and we keep talking about this idea of grace and accountability. Right. You're held accountable, but where is the grace that we can begin to learn and experience who Tiger Woods has evolved in? How has he learned from the choices that he's made or the mistakes that he's made in his lifetime? So I think this is a very valid point in recognizing that, one, it may take a Black person twice as much work to get to where they're at. But if they make one too many mistakes.
It's not one too many, just one.
That's true.
Right? Just one mistake. It can very well define the whole trajectory of who they are as a person and their entire career, no matter what they try to attach themselves to. And so this affects endorsement deals. This affects their pockets, their families, even their ability to even bring up other people, as we talked about before with like Oprah and Tyler Perry. And so people like Draymond Green,
yes,
he's been in the basketball world for, I don't even know how many years.
Couple years. I mean,
yeah.
A good Warriors player.
Yes, but you tell us the story. And because I remember watching it and I was like, oh my goodness, Draymond, you can't do this. You can't be doing this.
Yeah, so I just remember, I'm pretty sure it was a finals game where he fouled right out. He fouled out. But he was always known, I guess, for being an aggressive player or a more aggressive player.
And we want to be careful too, and even saying that too.
I don't even. Oh my gosh!
I know.
I don't even want to label a Black man as an over aggressive player.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to that. Tell the story. We're gonna get to that.
But anyway, in the media, let's just say that in the media, he was always known for being more aggressive. And I mean, this had to be about 6-7 years ago. Well, I don't know, I may be putting too much time on it, but it was a while. Yeah. It's been a while. And every time Draymond just fouls, this thing that happened in the finals comes up again. And so the question...
His history is traveling with him everywhere he goes, and now to his present day.
So the question is, does his worst moment in his basketball career, maybe, because he may not consider it to be, but for a lot of fans, that probably was one of the worst moments. Does that get to define the totality of who he is as a basketball player, as a black man, as a father, as a human? And it shouldn't.
No.
Yeah. And he's had interviews, he's talked about it, and it shouldn't.
I think even so, we started out with this quote with Sarah talking about like, if you really knew the fullness of who I am, I'm not sure that I'd get to re-enter the room. And I think these are the kinds of things, that's not what she wasn't talking about sports at the time, but it's still a relevant concept concerning like the fullness of who I am means that I won't always be at 100. You may catch me at a 70 sometimes. And does that disqualify me from being in the room because you catch me at a weaker moment, or you catch me in my humanity? Whereas like, I don't know that we're given the space in a room to show all of the components of who we are, right? Like as Black people, we are a complex people. We are people. And to be people is to be complex. Even more so being nuanced because of our backgrounds and our cultures and those kinds of things. So there's a lot that comes with who we are into a room. And I think there are examples like this concerning sports that gets to kind of throw us off of our game concerning the media and our reputation. But even in general, like regular people on a regular basis, which is more so what Sarah was highlighting. I think in a lot of the Black experience, we feel the need to water down and dilute our emotions in general, because there is we feel the need to resist being the angry Black woman. We feel the need to resist being the aggressive man.
Right.
We feel the need to resist all of these stereotypes that surround who we are, that really doesn't allow us to be a full person. It allows us to be a muted version of ourselves. Yeah. Like we don't get to embrace or express emotion, because like once I do, like, ooh, everybody backs up. Everybody gets nervous. And I'm like, half the time I'm not even angry. I'm just passionate. And you're seeing it as like being angry, being aggressive, and you're trying to quiet me. And there's nothing wrong. I am just speaking my truth. But everyone else gets uncomfortable.
Right. When talking about the angry Black woman, there have been many times where I'm like, I don't think I want to speak because I don't want that reputation. And so oftentimes I'm like, how will my emotions be interpreted? That is often something I think about, because I don't want my emotions to be interpreted in a hostile way or to be taken in a wrong way just because I may be passionate about, like you said, about whatever I'm talking about.
And so for me personally, some of that for me is toning down my tone. It's toning down my volume and my body language in order to not be seen as the angry one or the aggressive one. But I think even the fact that we feel the need to make the disclaimer about the fact that we're not angry says something. Yeah. Right? No one else in the world says, I'm not angry, but let me just explain this. But there's this need to explain our emotion in the instance that is happening in order to like combat the thoughts that we know are in the room that may never be said, but we'll experience the impact of it. Like people may not necessarily say like, oh, you're being angry today. But we know that we may potentially not be invited back into the room if we are seen as the angry one.
Right.
So it's a lot of really nuanced things. I think in this too, that a lot of the weight is carried because we recognize that not only are we seen a certain way, but we know that these people around us may have limited experiences of what it means to be a Black person. Right. Like we may be, for many of them, the only part of their day that is melanated.
Yeah.
And so like, how do I represent not just myself, but my people group? Because I might be their only experience for right now or for today of what it means to be Black.
Yes. I mean, when I think about that in particular, I am one of 2 Black people in my class. Mm-hmm. And I mean, in an academic setting, I am thinking about the fact that I am, one, the experience. So I may be one of a lot of people's first Black experience, mm-hmm. or experience of a Black person. Mm-hmm. And then 2, I am the expectation of what, mm-hmm. all Black people, mm-hmm. should be like. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What pressure to be the experience and the expectation.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. How many other people have to carry this as well in, mm-hmm. higher settings, mm-hmm. in bigger, on bigger platforms,
mm-hmm. on any place of the spectrum, honestly.
Yeah.
The fact that that is a daily part or a daily part of your experience, holding those 2 things in tandem, the weight is just too heavy, mm-hmm. you know, and having to show up in that regard. And, you know, as we think about the role of stereotypes, and I think it's important to recognize that there's a level of truth in stereotypes, but it's when we overgeneralize those stereotypes is when it becomes problematic. Individuals, they can experience norms that are culturally relevant to them, that are important to them and who they are. But I think it's important to recognize why they sing, why they dance, why they do sports so well. And also recognizing that they should not be expected to be that way. The way that we, from externally, we engage with other people and their stereotypes we put on them, even within the Black community, honey, we do it to each other.
About dance.
It's okay, sweetie.
I just saying.
It's okay.
I'm not saying it's me, but I'm just saying that I've seen that we've done this, about rhythm and dance.
It's Jordan firing back. I'm not said she's not taking it today.
That's an example. You're right.
Oh.
But yeah, we do this within. It isn't even just other races. It's like something that we have to identify that's right within our backyard.
Yeah,
we do this to each other in some instances, and so I think it's important to recognize where those places are and recognize how we need to be careful about not overgeneralizing. Like, if we comparing like African culture versus Caribbean culture and how we interact with those things and the expectations that we may be putting on people in that regard, and that you should fit the mold.
Right.
So let me ask this question then. Because we've been talking about dismantling expectations. If we're dismantling these racial expectations, so dismantling the expectation to show up with our emotions a certain way, dismantling the expectation to always be at our best, and that people get to have moments where they're human. What are we, if we're dismantling this, then what are we building? What are we replacing this with? Like, what should the expectation be then, or what should be in place of this overgeneralization or this need to mute ourselves?
Honestly, I would say first, go in with the expectation that you are meeting another human being. That is, I guess that's the first thing. Think about the fact that you're meeting another human being and their experiences and their ideals and their values and all these things may not align with the cultural norms or the racial norms, or I don't know. That's kind of what I was thinking.
To add on to what you're saying, I think recognizing you're meeting a human, but you're meeting a unique human that comes with their own story, that comes with their own experience, that comes with their own way of how they view life and how they might dance and how they might play a sport. They have their own individual way of being that I think we need to respect, but we also need to embrace being curious about, instead of feeling like we know. I know generally how y'all go. No, approach people, approach relationships with a sense of curiosity and genuinely wanting to know what that individual's personal experience looks like. I think is an important thing as you engage the fact that you're just talking about a human here.
Yeah, let them tell you the norms.
Yeah, for them.
Yeah.
I think in what we both are highlighting, it's important. And I think it addresses those who are not Black, right? For those who are not Black approaching Blacks, the expectation is that, or what you need to put down is having the expectation, what you need to normalize is that people are people and take each individual as they are. As you ask the question, or as we're asking this question, I thought about like, okay, so how do Blacks respond, right? Like, what do I replace the expectation with? And I'm wondering holistically if we get to free ourselves from these things.
Yeah.
Like free ourselves from the expectation to fit a box or fit a mold of what the larger population or world is saying, and allowing ourselves to flourish and blossom in the fullness of who we are and all of the nuances that it comes with. We are colorful people. We are vibrant people. We are people who are full of life and have many talents and gifts. And I wonder if part of like accepting the fullness of who we are in every space will allow other people to do the same thing as well. When I stop calming down my own emotions, and when I stop giving disclaimers for myself, I wonder if that would challenge the people around me to expect my full emotion from me, because this is who I am. Right? So that the one time that I do fully express my anger or my passion or whatever the emotion is, it's not seen as the anomaly, it's seen as the norm. Like, I wonder if we lean into those parts of who we are, if this will really allow us to continue to dismantle these expectations on both sides.
Yes, I fully agree. No longer conforming to the spaces that are around us, but transforming the spaces to what we
Come on, Bible.
deserve it to be, or what we desire it to be.
Come on, Bible. Come on, Hebrews.
Oh man, listen guys, we told y'all we was coming today.
For real though, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
I could just drop the mic right there, but I won't, because Aaron may kill me.
That's Hebrews.
Yes, yeah,
that's really good.
I really hope that, you know, in all of our passion today that you heard, that you were able to hear our hearts in this, and in the Black experience and the different things we were able to bring to the table today. We recognize that this conversation is ongoing, and there are going to be more things that come up, but seeing people as not just as their race or their culture, but seeing them in the fullness of who they are, seeing them for what they bring to the table, their humanity. That is what we strive to do. Well, guys, stay tuned, because more heat is coming. Thank you so much for listening to us today. We will see you guys next week. Bye.